Hello, everybody. This is Garuda speaking from the Big Island on Hawaii. I'd like to continue speaking about life after lava. We spoke about that in our last talk, and that's been over 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks, over 3 weeks ago. So a lot of things have happened in the last 3 weeks. For those of you who don't know what's going on over here on the Big Island in Puna, the lava has continued to flow this whole time, and in fact has increased. And there's been over 600 homes lost now, and the amount of property that's been taken by the lava has increased many times since then. It's flowing into the ocean in 2 places. It's completely wiped out, or mostly wiped out, the area of Kapaho, which is one of the most beautiful places in the Big Island. And the homes there and the people lost their everything. And also, where I have my farm, the lava is flowing just over the ridge, and you can see the smoke just bellowing out every day. It's coming out really strong, and so the lava is controlling a lot of things in this area. It's not like it was before, because some people have lost everything, of course, and they can't go back to their homes because there is no home left, and there is no access also. We're fortunate to still have access to get to our farm, but the air quality sometimes is really poor, so that is a consideration of going down there. So, I made a lot of points before about loss, and I spoke about the fact that I came there in 1979 and bought that property, and was intending to, and I did, grow fruit trees, and in that whole situation, in all those 38 years I was there, I'm still there, trying to do some farming and trying to revive the things that got damaged, and kind of start over again on some things. But we're not sleeping there because we're concerned about the air quality at night when the wind goes down. Trade winds blow the smoke away from us. But I want to make that point that I spent a lifetime, 38 years working down there every day as my only job, and built everything that we built there, either with help from other people, or we helped them, or we did it ourselves, or with the help of other people and ourselves, including the homes that we built, and we dug a swimming pool ourselves and built a swimming pool ourselves, and fencing and planting the trees and maintaining everything, and me and my sons and my wife and friends, we put our whole life into what we've done down there. So my theme of these talks is to make it clear that there is, in other words, in this material world, loss is built into the situation here. In other words, everybody loses everything. I made that point last time, that you come to this world with nothing and you go out with nothing as far as material things. So this is a problem for people because they become attached, to the things in this world, and of course the things in this world can't be kept. It's just like one of my biggest losses in this life, it was my son. This is something that everyone is going to go through, or somebody will go through when someone else leaves, or they leave, and the people stay behind will also experience that person's loss. So this world is constantly giving us. We're getting things, and then we're losing them, and this is a huge disruption in trying to be satisfied, because being satisfied means that a person has what he wants and he's able to hold on to it. But that's not the way it works there. This experience that I'm having makes it clear that my situation is, some people's situation is what they had, and some of these people, all of them had wonderful places, and some of them were just incredible, just incredible, beautiful places worth a lot of money. And they're gone. There's nothing there but, huge stacks of black lava. So this losing of things is unavoidable. So the question is, where do you get your happiness from? What makes you happy? Because the reality is that we can't hold on to anything in this world. We can't hold on to for a certain length of time. But leaving our youth is taken away from us. Leaving our I know this people that live next door to some friends of mine down the street here, and the man in the house is 90 years old, and the woman is 70 years old. And these are just neighbors, they don't even know them. And they just came over to the house one day and said, "Can you help us, And the man is dying of, I'm not sure what of, but he's 90 years old. And the woman has cancer. And the man is in hospice care. They come there and give me medication or whatever. But one night the woman came over, the wife, and said, "Help us." And the husband, I don't know, what, something with the morphine or whatever it is he takes, there wasn't enough or something. So the guy was all disruptive all night, and the woman couldn't turn him over to change his diaper. And so they asked my friends to help them, and they did, and they came over again and again and again. And one day we were talking a few days ago or whatever it was, and I was just saying to them, and they were, saying to me, wouldn't it be nice if you could introduce these people to the hearing of God's holy names? Because this is something that hits a person right in the heart. In other words, it actually goes to that place in one's heart that one actually needs to fill up to be actually secure and satisfied. And these people are in a very shaky situation. I mean, because this woman is losing her husband, and I guess one of the comments that were made was that they weren't sure who was more sick, the wife or the husband. They're both sick, And so this is a situation where people are hanging on to what they have, but it's hanging on by a very thin thread. This is the nature of this world. So they were able to, that one night they came over there and helped them, they were able to ask them if it would be okay if they prayed in song, And then when they started to sing the names of God, the lady did say to her, "This is like a prayer." And my friend said, "Yes, it's a prayer to God, asking him for shelter and asking him to allow them to serve him and be pleasing to him in this way of praising his names." And of course, this went on for quite a while, and the man would settle down completely. He became really calm, and before he was not reaching out or being conscious too much of them, and he reached out with his hands and looked my friend right in the eyes, and she could tell that he was grateful, and he gained a great deal of peace compared to what he had before. So this is a situation here. Their situation is not unique. It's just one stage of what we're going through. My stage right now of losing something or possibly losing something, or the stage of those other people losing their homes and their furniture. And some cases, some people couldn't get out leaving fast enough to remove anything. And these people were, some of them are well-to-do, well-established people that lost an incredible amount of stuff. So, but this is the nature of this world. So my point is, how do we live in this world and have actual happiness and security when this world is not really a place of real security? It's constantly in flux. That's the nature of this world. So the yoga system, or the system of coming to know and love God again, is based on the understanding that this world is a temporary place, and it's constantly in flux and changing. Our bodies are changing, our minds are changing, our surroundings are changing, our neighbors are changing, our children are changing, our society's changing. People are changing, people are coming and people are going. As you get older, you look back and you think, man, things have really changed a lot. I mean, I remember when I was a kid looking at footage, or leaving old footage now, I don't see it very often, but you see people back in the 50s and 40s or whatever at a sporting event and something, and I'm not saying that was the way I want it to be now, but I mean, everybody at the baseball game had a hat on, every man had a suit on, and you're going, what? I mean, I don't know whether it was the East Coast or what, but I went to baseball games, professional baseball games in California when I was a kid, and I guess some of that time was in the 50s, late 50s and mid 50s, and I don't remember people dressing that way then, but just how things have changed. I mean, so this change is constantly taking place. So the question is, how do you live in this world and be productive and be happy. And my example of my farm and how much work I put into it, a person could easily lose it over the fact that, could be lost, or these people already have lost their place. My place isn't completely lost yet, but there's a lot of hindrances going on, So and I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future. But like I said in my last talk, that's only a really small part of my life, that land itself. I have that land, I had that land, I have it still. But what I use that land for, try to anyway, is to use it in a way to be pleasing to God. So what I developed there by trying to do that was a relationship with God. In other words, we're talking about a real relationship. Just like in this world, if somebody comes into contact with somebody and they get to know them or they're attracted to them in the beginning, we're talking about a relationship. The people get to know each other, they become attracted to each other. This is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about something artificial or something imaginary. Every one of us is a spiritual being, temporarily in these bodies. But we as an individual spiritual being have a yearning and a need to relate. Obviously, look, it's so strong. You can't even control it, it's so strong. It's just who you are. So when one begins to act, even in simple ways, like when I first heard this from my teacher, it made sense, and then I heard it in scripture, and then I heard it also as time went by, or even in the moment, I felt in my heart God confirming, yes, this is true. You can come to know me. You can come closer to me. You can relate to me. So the more I followed this, the more I heard from my teacher, the more I experienced confirmation in bona fide scriptures, and the more I actually felt in my heart that this was true, the relationship became stronger, like in any relationship. You get to know somebody better, you feel more comfortable with the person, you become closer. Everyone's different, and everyone's been through different experiences, but I can only relate my experience. And my experience is that I'm very slow at this because I wasn't really doubting it, the whole situation, but I was just so attached to so many other things due to my upbringing and due to where I put my heart for all these years. So this has been an obstacle for me. But gradually, as this experience, actual experience, not on a mental level, you're feeling it in your heart. You're feeling actual affection, attraction for God. He's a person, and he's the supreme person. So it's natural to have affection for him because nobody's more affectionate, nobody's more kind, nobody's more beautiful. So to have these feelings towards God. So this is done in a very, it's not like somebody just goes sit in a church. You could do this sitting in a church, but you can also do it in your everyday, every moment life. Why are you getting up in the morning? Why are you working? What's the motivation? Sure, I need to take care of those around me, and I did financially, but I also used some of my energy and some of what I had produced to be able to reach out to others and use in a way that would be pleasing to God by informing others about this reality. That's my motivation right here. I'm sitting in this room, it's hot in here. I don't know if Hope can't see me sweating, but I'm starting to. And we have a fan in here, but I can't turn the fan on because it'll make the noise and you won't hear it. So when we thought about this before, and we're going to do this and stuff, and I don't know, anyway, there's a sacrifice going on. I don't feel like I have really anything to say or I'm special in any way. I'm not. I've just been fortunate that I came in contact with my teacher and with this knowledge that he gave me, and that to some small degree, through his blessings, I followed it, and it's become real for me. And I have a desire to share that with others, because I know I've been in this world long enough to realize that there really isn't alternatives to this. If you really want security that's going to carry over not just now, but later. We're talking about something that's a continuation. There's not a breakage in this. This is the reason people are so afraid in this world, because they're afraid of this breakage coming up. They're afraid that they're going to have to give up and end this situation, which is going to happen. Everyone's going to have to leave this place and leave this world. And this people they either have this in the forefront of their mind, generally not. Maybe they're 90 years old, it comes to the front. But most people, it's in the back of their mind. They're not thinking about it very much, but yet it does come up, when something happens, Like before I came in here, my kids were out talking in the other room about some guy that got in an accident with an oil tanker on the Hamakua coast out there in his car, and it was some kind of explosion or whatever. Maybe it was an explosion, I'm not sure. I didn't talk to him long about it, but I said that was the guy killed, and they said yes. So this is, this is the way it happens in this world. People hear them, they're not here. This is something that frightens you because everyone has this world as their goal and what they're doing, and everything's in this world, which is normal for people in this world. This is what's happening. But then when it ends, they don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's fine to have some belief system, and a belief in faith is good, but faith is the foundation of actually understanding and knowing and experiencing things that are much deeper than just faith. In other words, an actual experience of love for God. You can say, well, that's difficult or that's rare. Maybe, but it's potentially who you are. It is who you are, not potentially, it is who you are. And if you act upon this, then you gradually, or not so gradually, if you're acting with more passion and more enthusiastically and trying, you're more sincere. The more sincere you are, this is really the only qualification. It's not a question of. This is one thing that's so wonderful about Lord Chaitanya's teaching and his mission, his mercy, is that he's not basing it on who you are, what you've done in the past. Everything's based on the fact that all you have to do is be accepting of the reality that you are a spiritual being, that you do have this relationship with God. And if you act upon it, then you will begin to experience it. I mean, this is something that, it's not, like I said before, it's not something you join. This isn't a team thing. This is an actual spiritual experience that is real. It's not just something like a side thing. It's actually, your mind is there and your body is here, but you as a spiritual being is where your consciousness is. Your self-awareness of who you really are is a spiritual being. These things are just kind of like your body and your mind are sort of like a TV set over here, and maybe some situations going over here, but you exist outside of those things. And when you leave your body, at the time when your body passes away, you will see that a little bit more clearly, that you're not this body. Your desires will still be there, but this is the whole point in the yoga system, the system that's taught by the Supreme Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita, that we need to begin to focus our consciousness. Our consciousness is eternal. That's who we are, on our relation with Supreme Lord. And this is done, I said this last time, and we did a little bit at the end, in hearing God's names. And this can be done silently, or it could be done out loud for one's own hearing, or it could be done musically, And that's what we did last time. We chanted God's names or sang God's names. This, you hear this point being made in all the great scriptures of the world, that through God's names is where we get his help, where we actually can make contact with him. That God is absolute, so his names are not material. Just like there's a camera right in front of me here, and that camera is just a word. That contraption there, or machine there, is not a camera. The machine is something else. And you could call it whatever. You call it a camera. Okay, it's called a camera. But that's not, there's a difference between the machine and the word camera. Or it says Sony on it, That may be the guys that made it, but that's not what it is. It's something else. It's a bunch of steel or whatever, and plastic or whatever it is. I don't understand how cameras work exactly, but yeah, that's what's inside of it. But when you talk about God, his name is him. In other words, there's no distinction between his names and himself. Last time we brought up the name of Jehovah and Allah. These are names of God. Allah, God, is the most compassionate person. He's also the most powerful. He's also the most attractive. God is the most attractive person. So these names of God that refer to his different qualities, his different ways of relating to those who love him, are all non-different. So by hearing and repeating these names, there's direct contact with God. Okay? Not only that, but for most of us, we may be experiencing God's name to some degree, but what keeps us from experiencing it completely is these barriers that we've built up. Just like in this world, if you've created barriers, and people do have these barriers built up with other people, it makes it very difficult to relate to that person closely because of these different things that people have done, up to the point where people have very little trust, maybe in some cases no trust. Maybe in some cases people have taken it so far that they even dislike the person, or maybe they even try to say the person doesn't exist. Well, this is happening in this world with people in connection to their relationship with God. Some people say he doesn't exist. Well, what is that? Where's that coming from? They don't know that. How do they know that? They don't know that. They're just saying it because someone out there might be saying, well, that's not the reason. I don't believe that. He doesn't exist. But the general point is that they deny his existence because they're denying that he is there, because they don't want to deal with it for whatever reason, Maybe they're envious. This is a very common problem that people have in this world. In other words, they're trying to be the supreme enjoyer. Last time I said that God is the supreme enjoyer. This is a really important point because our enjoyment is connected to his. And our enjoyment comes from his being pleased and enjoying our efforts in connection to relating to him. This is called love. That's why he's called our Father. One of the reasons is because he's our origin, but also he's our mother too. In other words, he loves us in the most intimate way. And of course, he's happy and pleased when we love him back, or even just relate to him. And it's like in this world I've had so many of these experiences in my life, I'm sure all of you have too, where you develop I could tell a million stories, but I'll just deal with it in generality. You build certain barriers up with people, and this happens all the time. Like, I don't want to get specific here, but just to say, for instance, say you have a son or you have somebody, and maybe something, it could be something in your own mind a lot of times. Maybe you're not relating to the person's doing something else, and you start to feel distance from the person, some distance, some feeling of separation, some feeling of misunderstanding. And then you come together and start talking again, and it's all just kind of lifted away, and you feel closer to that person. That barrier that you put up between that person just kind of lifts up. It's a wonderful feeling. Like, now you're able to open your heart more. This is what we're talking about. It's the same thing. It's just talking about the difference between dealing with a brother or a sister in this world, or the Supreme Lord himself. So when one loves the Supreme Lord or relates to the Supreme Lord, these barriers, as one hears about him through his names and his pastimes and etc., these barriers are removed, and he's able to actually experience. We're talking about an experience, just like when I experienced with my son, coming closer to him, and these misconceptions and these barriers that are in my mind, and maybe the other person, what they said or whatever, they just get removed, and all of a sudden one feels a feeling of closeness to that person that had been lost, and it comes back. This is what we're talking about. And we're talking about real experiences here. This isn't something that's artificial. The Supreme Lord is not only all pure, he's all purifying. So his names, which are not different from himself, they not only purify and are purifying to you, but they also give you a glimpse and a taste of the most pure. The most pure God is the most enjoyable thing. There's nothing that brings more joy to the individual living being. So this comes back to the fact that the things in this world and the efforts that we make here are really insignificant because they're temporary, for one thing. And if they're not connected to God, if they are connected to God and being pleasing to him, then this has increased our awareness. And you can do this in a very practical way in your own life. It's not something that you just do under some circumstances, something you can do all the time. And you can connect everything up. You're supporting or working, your leisure time and taking care of your body and your health concerns about yourself, your relationship with relatives and others and your neighbors, and you're concerned about other people that maybe you don't know personally, but you care about them and you want to do things. This is the nature of humans. Humans generally have this tendency to want to help people. That's why people want to take better care of the environment, become more concerned about all the stuff that's happening in the ocean and with the air and all the climates and everything else, and the animals and the other humans who are suffering. People want to do something about this. This is the side of them that cares. So this caring about others is natural. So when one begins to also include God in this caring, then it becomes a direct experience that you're experiencing directly. It's not just something that's in some other country or your neighbors, but you're actually experiencing it in your own heart. This makes it so you can be happy in this world no matter what happens. No matter whether you get sick, which is going to happen eventually anyway, you have some accident, you have some misunderstanding, all these things are going to come about. So how are you going to deal with it? What's going to be your solution to this? The solution is to be living in this world and simultaneously be living in the spiritual world. This is completely possible. It's been done since time immemorial. The people that have done this in the past are innumerable. This is something that every one of us has a right to do. We don't have to do it. It can't be forced upon you. But if you want actual security, because this world does not have it. I mean, I'm living on the side of a mountain that blows up every day, right? Just up the hill here, there were 700 earthquakes the other day. 700 in one day. Now you talk about people, I mean, I don't feel this down here this much, but just up the hill they do. And my friend was telling me, how's the earthquakes up there? It must be nuts. He goes, dude, he's got shelves like everyone does. He goes, every time the earthquake, everything falls off the shelf. So he just put everything in boxes and said, forget it. I can't have anything on shelves anymore because every day it falls off. It's like that. I mean, it's like, it's over. Then it's over. I mean, he's just going, I've heard in the news and seen that. I can just imagine. I know what earthquake feels like. I mean, we had one right at 7.9 one. I mean, we thought that, my friend was there with me afterwards. I was 6.9. I mean, I was in a 7.1 once in California when I was 20 years old, just ready to move to Hawaii. But I was sitting in bed, and so I had, and I was half asleep. This one, I was standing up on the earth, and I mean, the earth was just, I felt like it was like a roller coaster, We were standing by these boxes that we grow things in, and they were just swaying, and these boxes weighed 1,000 pounds or whatever, more than that. They're very heavy, they're full of dirt and stuff. And my gator, my farm vehicle was just shaking, like this. And I'm looking at the coconut trees, and just the other day, my friend who was with me revealed that he thought, which, I didn't think that. I'm glad he didn't, because it's pretty scary what he said. But he felt like, hey, the earth could just crack open and we could just fall in and then lava, because we know it's down there, right? I mean, I dug a well 10 years ago, for agricultural water, and it's hot. It comes out of the ground at 108 degrees. It always has. We think hot tubs all the time. That doesn't, like, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's not. It's always hot. It's always the same temperature. So where's that getting heated from, So we know that lava's down there somewhere. Well, here we look up on the hill. It's coming out of the mountain, we can see it. I mean, it's just right up there, It's coming out. And it's going down and wiped out, all this stuff, And here we are. And my friend saying, I thought the earth was going to open up. We're just going to fall in. I'm going, I kind of thought, wish you had told me that, because, that's a crazy, what would I have to get? First I thought, well, cut. And I went, he's right. I mean, it's cracking all over the place, right? To get out to my house on the highway, that you got to go across about 10 different iron, the big thick iron they put on a road, and they dig a hole, they're digging a pipe to replace the sewage or something. They put these steel plates on so you can drive over the work they're doing. They got those all the way going out down the road. And not just that, but the steam is coming up and the sulfur is coming up as you're driving down to where we live. At the same time, this all connects back to being pleasing to God and developing a real relationship that gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So when the time does come to leave this world, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. There's really nothing to be afraid of. The things to be afraid of are just due to our ignorance or our lack of knowledge of what the real situation is. So we're hoping, and of course this is, attempt by, myself and my friends to put this on. It's just a small thing that we're trying to do here because, I'm insignificant in the bigger picture of things, but, I want to do something, more. So this is an attempt. So if anyone's getting anything out of it, then let us know. If people have questions, they want to go into depth or ask about what I'm saying or want more information, let us know. We can go over that in the future. We plan on if whoever the people that run the world are don't, squash us in the meantime. I'm not sure their names, but I'm pretty good. I got a pretty good idea what companies they work for. But if we're still here, then we'll try to deal with those things. So we want to, again, we hope to do this. We're going to try to put one out every week, So we want to end this with having a little chant of God's names, and we hope to hear from you and hope to see you in the future. Thank you. Hari Bol.